There's one gentleman who's probably about my age, maybe a couple years older. He said to me, he came with his mask on, and it was winter, it was cold, and he said, I finally broke down. I really had to come here. I didn't want to come here, but I had to come here and get food. I know you've been sending me emails saying you can come get food. I said, why didn't you want to come? He says, man, I just didn't want to face my family having to get handout food. I said, man, this ain't handout food. I bought this food. We spend a lot of money for it. It's not like free food. We shop at a wholesale supermarket, and so that you have it. So
Right.
he said, I know, but I'm a man, and I try to do for my family. I said, hey, man, we all need help every now and again, and so that stigma is really
Yeah.
one of the things that is challenging for men. They
Yeah.
to get that help, to get support, it becomes a real challenge for them to be able to admit, that they
Yeah,
need.
because when you grow up, you grow up like, oh, you got to be a man, you got to be
Yeah,
strong, you can't cry, you can't this, you can't that.
exactly. Right.
And then what happens is when you get into situations, and I've been in that situation myself where,
Hmm.
I kind of looked around and was like, wow, like I couldn't believe I'm in this situation. I'm
Yeah.
going through what I'm going through, not wanting nobody to know about the situation,
Yep.
struggling with it emotionally and mentally.
Yep.
And, I don't know if you know, but I went through a depression and I didn't know I was even in the depression
Hmm.
until it got to a point where I just almost snapped and almost committed suicide.
Right.
Now, I've never thought about suicide before,
Hmm.
and I've never thought about it after. But it was just one time in my life where it seemed like everything was going wrong, and I couldn't talk to nobody about it. I was struggling internally. I always give praise to my mother because ever since I was a little boy, she always, you're a genius. You're a genius. She always spoke positivity in me. And by her doing that consistently over my whole life, because I was about 5 years old as far back as I can remember, and she just kept doing it and doing it. She was the only person, well, not the only person besides my wife, but she was the only person who knew what I was going through that I could talk to. And
Okay.
she got me through it and she coached me. And in reality, I needed a therapist.
Yeah.
I needed to go sit down with somebody, but I was too ashamed. I didn't want the therapist in my business,
Right.
and I think I've grown tremendously in the last 10 years. Just the way I go about doing things now, it's not about holding everything in, it's about letting it out.
Yep.
And honestly, when you let it out, you feel much better.